All right, folks, this is how I knew to strongly warn my community that you need to be setting stops in the first 2 weeks, particularly after me, after I flip from one macro mentality to another. That is when the markets get brutal, because what these hedge fund algos and really exchanges who have more Bitcoin than pretty much anybody, they are taking traditional trading, and right at that last minute, right around the time where I know to flip, that's when they're messing around with the market, which it's completely legal, most likely. This is part of it. So don't sit here and complain. I've been giving warning signs, very strong and exact strategies on how to not be greatly affected by this. But let me show you. By the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how I knew to be warning against this. Did I know this was going to happen? Hell no. No one knew this kind of stuff was going to happen. So here it is. So I have a free subscription. I just signed up, but so this is free. You can use this too at cryptoquant.com. And look on the right hand side of my screen here where I just made it disappear. I've been saying to my community for at least 4 weeks now, before I flipped bullish, and this was my last string of hope, right? That, hey, I've been kind of bearish waiting for a downturn, and this was my last thing of hope. And after I flipped bullish, I kept telling my community within live chats, yo, look at this. There has not been a long liquidation in a long time. This is an outlier of space without one. It's going to happen. I've been saying it for roughly a month now. And so this is also a chart. This is a chart of data with a general trend, a general way of how things move. And these spikes, these flash crashes happen. This one looks to be being bought up. Like, it looks like Bitcoin's going to be back above 50K rather soon, the way it's going right now. And it looks like just exchanges called their billionaire friends and say, hey, on this date, we're going to do this. Let's even, have so much volume that the exchanges can't handle it. And so people who happen to be in a long or whatever, or a short, let's make our website shut down. And I bet there's been several exchanges that are shut down and you can't get on it. This is them making money. All right. Now, did the folks who whoever, whales and, whoever has helped do this, mostly the exchanges are involved with this, but did they sell until price was down that low? No, it's more of a cascade effects, because when longs close, what they do is that means they sell. So it just cascades, almost like it's like a chemical reaction with a catalyst, right? The catalyst is market selling, these whales market selling on spot market. Spot market means just selling Bitcoin for Bitcoin. You're not shorting, you're not nothing. But the catalyst to that chemical reaction finally taking place, almost like Mentos. There you go. So Mentos in a Coke, right? A Coke bottle. You've seen those where you shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. It doesn't just immediately fly up, right? Okay. And so the shaking is essentially like the catalyst to that reaction. And then once the reaction take place, you don't have to shake it anymore, do you? So as that Coke bottle's going and making, a bunch of foam or whatever, or flies in the air because it's so strong, no one's shaking it. So no one kept, these whales didn't have to keep selling all the way down, just like the person with the Mentos and Coke chemical chemistry experiment didn't have to keep shaking it. But this chart is exactly like, this is how I knew to be on guard. And this is the chart that kept me bearish so long. I knew this was going to happen deep down, but things just got too bullish and I had to flip, right? And so I even said on a public YouTube video, I think it was last week, and I should have had it prepared before I came up here, but I said, hey, last time I flipped from bearish to bullish, 1 day later, there was a flash crash. And I told everybody on YouTube, and I let me expand this. Actually, I told everybody on YouTube, look them right in the eye, say that means be on guard. Last time I flipped, these markets are taking traditional trading when you're supposed to do something, and they're essentially flipping you off. Right? I looked everybody right in the eyes, and I said that. So I guess that could be another indicator. When cosasverdes switches a macro view, that means I need to be on guard, because that's how these You know, it's not because I'm wrong, even though I'm wrong a lot. It's not that. It's because I take traditional trading rules and I know when to make decisions for the most part. Sometimes I make horrible choices too, but I have a feel for how price moves in a classical way. And that's what these wheels are going after. All right. And so I've also been letting my community know, hey, if you're taking positions, okay, now I think is the time to be doing that. However, you need to be setting stops. And I think I've been saying that on YouTube too. I hope. I'm pretty sure I have been. So, you know, this is not something unusual for crypto. So if this gets you disgruntled because you went all in on alts, you know, you deployed your tether, did this and that, and now you can't catch this flash crash sale, that's okay. Next time, set your stops, and don't just set one stop. If you're not a community member, go to my library video. I show you how to make it so that stops have a much stronger chance of being hit instead of skipped and you're still stuck in your position although you hit a stop, right? Because you split them up into, you know, let's say you have 1,000 OMI, for example, and you set a stop 8% below price. You don't just, not financial advice, Pokemon, talking about Pokemon cards only. You don't just set one stop. Let's say OMI price, you know, blah, 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 it's going up, whatever. You bought OMI here. You would want to set a stop some percentage under. In altcoins, it's a larger percentage, like let's say 8%. You don't just set one stop. You set it roughly a larger percentage than you would for Bitcoin under price. Okay, so this red line is price, and you bought it here, and you need to set a stop. If you measure down 8%, okay, so let's say 8%, you would, here at 8%, you would look for a daily candle or a couple that align and set one stop under it, but make that stop for only 1/8 of your position, and then trickle down 7 more stops. And what that does, breaking up your stops, is it helps them be filled. And because if you're 1,000 OMI right here, this stop is for 1,000 OMI, and there is no one willing to buy exactly 1,000 OMI at that level in the order books, it's going to skip, and your stop's not going to be hit. And if it's a market stop, the next person willing to buy 1,000 OMI in one swing might be way down here, and you automatically sell it in the flash crash way down there. So that's why you split stuff up. I've been, you know, and my community knows this, and I stress this constantly, and I've been stressing it the last 2 weeks, particularly after I got bullish, because I got tricked here, and I wasn't warning against this. And I knew that this is the perfect time for another flash crash to happen. Now, let's say, okay, are there any differences between this crash that ended up having follow through and what we're seeing now? I think there really is. First off, let's go to the hour chart. This is being bought back up. I don't think there was an hour like that. I don't think that happened last time. So let's take a look. Take off EMAs. So you had 2 candles and you had no big wick up. So this isn't just being bought up on the 3rd hour. So there was a big buy up on the 3rd hour, I guess. So let's say from drop, so 20%, and then it came up 11. So let's take a look. This looks like it's not going to have follow through, but it might. This could have follow through. So it dropped 20% in 2 hours. Lo and behold, 19% in about 2 hours. A little longer than 2 hours, but these 2 hours right here were 16. And then it went halfway back up, halfway back up. All right, so let's take a look at what kind of supports we got going on here. I anticipate this is going to be bought up. This is just a quick flash crash to liquidate longs. And I also bet the overall leverage of the entire market was way too high as well. However, that happens a lot. And that is, in my opinion, not as good as an indicator the way my personal brain Instead of my backup brain that I have charging in there in case this one stops working, my personal brain. How my brain works, this chart gave me, but yeah, so this is way too high. I mean, just look at this. It is too high. I mean, look how high this is. So yeah, that's the exact height. Look, it got to the same height. So I'm looking at the blue line. So the blue line over here right before this flash crash that recovered, ultimately dumped, but it did recover. It's the same height. So I guess you could see it there too. But I've been seeing it for over a month in this chart right here. Long liquidations haven't been happening. And if you go over to short liquidations, they happen frequently. Right here, actually, short liquidation. See how scattered this is? It's very steady. Like, so this is kind of like a chart that keeps going up, like Harmony 1 almost. Harmony 1 had been bouncing off of its daily 10 for quite a while in this move up, and it's really, really healthy price move. So see how nice and healthy this price movement? That's how nice and healthy the short liquidations are. It's nice and healthy and steady. So this didn't need to have a scream up and then to liquidate shorts, because they've been getting liquidated quite a bit. Longs did. I mean, just look at this. There hadn't been a spike up in for how long? Since May. It's September. This was bound to happen, and it was obvious. And I've been screaming about it to my community, making us thinking about it for quite a while. So, not screaming, but, you know, I've been saying it over and over and over. All right. So let's take a look at the support that we have here to try to identify, okay, what the hell is going to happen here? So first off, I use origin lines. They work. It didn't even come touch the origin line, could it? Yeah. So a downside target, I would say 40,200. And what does that align with if this were to happen rather quickly, like today or tomorrow? 40,200 means what does it mean, Tim? Don't just stop mid-sentence. It means that you're going to not break that low structure there, but you're going to get darn close to it, which is a pretty common play. It's a pretty common play to break one higher low structure, to fake people out, and then keep charging up because the markets are brutal. Okay, so it could, this day could break the daily trend, or the next day could close down here, which would break the trend of this higher low here. So you have low, higher low, higher low, higher low, break that daily trend, then go, because this market's brutal. So honestly, about 40,200 could be a downside target. And if it's even on a closing basis, I still think it would recover from there at this point. Okay, once we get there, I could change my mind if the charts tell me to. But this looks like a pretty common play. However, this is right now, this is not breaking higher low structure. It's coming right back up to here now. So what you want to do to see if this is going to be bought up or not is what you want to draw a line on your Bitcoin chart right here at 46,860 or so. You want to zoom into the daily candle closings on August 26th and August 27th. You want to make a line at where the candle body is. So maybe zoom like this, way in there. All right, and line it up. Make sure it's straight. And there you go. If today closes above that, this is going to march right up, upwards and onwards. So draw that line right there. And I think it hit the weekly 21 perfectly. So what EMAs did, yeah, look at that. It just came back and hit the weekly 21. This is actually good, folks. We just got this over with. Honestly, this flash crash is good. This means Bitcoin can now fly. So so a lot of you have been with me for a long time. You gotta get down to get up. This is actually really good. If Bitcoin closes a day above here and it hit the weekly 21, whoo, Bitcoin's gonna melt. Bitcoin can melt faces soon. That is really good. This could mean Bitcoin's going to fly past all-time highs, because that's all it just needed to touch. So the reason why I thought that Bitcoin was going to potentially break all-time highs, then have to consolidate for 2 weeks, is to let this catch up so it can touch it, this yellow line. And it just touched it. So now I think it might actually consolidate under all-time highs now, but not nearly for long. in about later this month. I think it'll consolidate under and then blast off. But I don't think it'll have to consolidate for 2 months to let this yellow line catch up. It just touched it. This is actually really good, folks. This flash crash was needed if you want Bitcoin, your altcoins to fly up. This is really good. Especially if the daily closes above that magic line at 46,860 or whatever I said earlier. So that's what I got for you. There were major warning signs, okay? And I've said this warning in so many ways across free YouTube videos and my community, okay? So here are the things that I've been saying. Last time I flipped a macro view, the markets tanked the other way one day later. Be on guard, okay? Whales are doing this like on purpose, right? This is planned. This is, you know, they got to make money too. But if you're going to make life-changing wealth in short amount of time, you're going to have to deal with this stuff. So this is just part of it. So don't be all angry. All right, there are warning signs, and I've been talking about them. So anyway, I've been saying one. Last time I flipped bullish, it had a flash crash one day later. All right. Actually, it wasn't a flash crash. It was actually a crash. But this looks to be a flash crash. Okay, it crashed one day later. Longs haven't been liquidated in way too long. Be setting stops. I'm bullish, but set stops. I'm bullish, but set stops. Okay, so there have been things that I've been saying. Even though I flip bullish, I knew deep down that when I know to flip bullish, that's when these market movers, that's when they're going to be able to strike. Okay, but there are ways you can protect yourself, and in this video, I've covered that. It's just setting stops, splitting them up. Especially being on guard with these stops and being very meticulous with them. If you have a reason to flip a macro view for those 2 to 3 weeks after that. So this is like in a nutshell. This is the most important takeaway of the video. If you change your macro, here, let me zoom my ugly ass face in here. Okay, if you change a macro outlook, those next 2 to 3 weeks. So what I mean by macro outlook, if you go from bullish to bearish on a long time frame, not on a 1 hour chart, 4 hour chart with the Stokes moving up. No, I know. I'm talking about the whole market's moving up or the whole market's moving down for a long period of time. Macro. Okay, so if you change a macro mindset or a macro viewpoint, then for the next 2 to 3 weeks, you need to be on guard for a move in the opposite direction. That might be a flash case, or it could be get continuation. Because these market movers they're striking exactly at that time. This is 2 times in a row now, and I warned everybody against it, right? But that is the biggest takeaway. Especially if cosasverdes, because maybe you're the one listening to me, so maybe you didn't flip, right? You heard me flip. So when it's traditionally good time to flip from bullish to bearish or bearish to bullish, you need to be on guard for 2 to 3 weeks, period, and looking for the opposite move for this kind of crap to happen. All right, that's the biggest takeaway. Hopefully you had been setting stops and you're not greatly affected by this, but even if not, honestly, if you had been greatly affected by this, look, the day's already above there, folks. If this day closes above there, it's going to keep marching up, and it might march up faster now because it hit this weekly 21. So don't be all salty about it if you're in a long position. This right now it looks okay. And at the end of the day, you're going to know. So we'll see you next time. And if you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. This is going to help me produce more content for you. Check it out. Stop, drop. Oh, no, it's not even plugged in. Darn it, I have a flashy sign back there. It's supposed to work. Anyway, go ahead and hit like and subscribe for me. It will help me continue producing content for you, and we'll get out of your hair here. See you next time.